Today, I want to talk to you about weight loss plateaus and what I've learned as a trailblazer in the plus size and health fitness industry. I've lost and maintained over 100 pounds, and I've helped thousands of women along the way. I'm known as the plus size modification queen, but I moved away from that because it never really was about the body and always about the brain. So, here's what I'm going to talk to you about today. We have this misconception about what weight loss plateaus are, and I want to share a little bit about my story and what I've learned about them and what nobody else is talking about that you need to know that may just shift your perspective, your brain set on what a weight loss plateau actually means for yourself. So I grew up with a really poor body image of myself, and I grew up with disordered eating and eating disorders, and I really struggled with a sense of worth. And so I felt that nothing that was showing, like everything was externally based, was not good enough. I didn't have enough worth. I would say things like, I'm not going to wear shorts until I'm a particular amount of weight. I'm not good enough until I weigh X amount. I'm a loser if I'm still this weight. Like all this terrible conversation. I would say things to myself that I could never imagine letting pass through my lips to someone that I loved or even someone I didn't love. I mean, just completely cruel and terrible. And so I had gained 180 pounds really rapidly and hit nearly 400 pounds. My family and I ended up broke and homeless. I had two little boys. My husband had multiple sclerosis. And due to some issues with our business and a business partner, we had to shut everything down to protect ourselves, our families, and those of our employees. And so in that process, I gained 180 pounds. My husband gained 100. And we ended up in this little dark, dank hotel. My husband would work out on his knees because he didn't have the strength to stand up because of multiple sclerosis. And I would eat massive amounts of Chinese food in front of him and an extra large Coke because I was mad. I was super, super mad about our situation. I was mad at him. I was even deeper, more upset with myself. And I felt that if he got in shape as the unsupportive spouse that I was, because it was a way of me expressing my anger and also my fear that there wouldn't be a space in his world for me at nearly 400 pounds. And so it's always really interesting when we get a better understanding of people's brain sets. And so I don't come from a place of self judgment or judging other people. We only know the things that we know. And that's what I knew, that my worth was dependent on how I looked. And even when I had the perfect body, right? When I was a teen, like you look back and you go, you were worried about that. I still didn't see myself for what I was because I didn't even know what I was looking for. I just thought when it showed up, I would know it. So even when it showed up, even though through some very dangerous practices, I didn't even recognize it because I never felt good. And I didn't want to feel anything. I wanted to stuff everything down. I didn't want to feel good things because they would never last. I didn't want to feel bad things. And so food became my source of numbing myself. So I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that. It's been a while. I started sharing my journey online. I didn't know anybody was watching me. I didn't think anybody cared. I went online looking for another version of myself, somebody else's belly who got in the way, somebody else who struggled getting up and down from the couch, like any of those things. And when I couldn't find her, I became her. And I started speaking on social media really to myself. It's just a place to hold accountability. And there's like one, two people watching kind of a thing. And that was fine. um, the fact that I was vocalizing I was going through, that I was showing myself in the most vulnerable state. And at the time, I was really suffering from PCOS, endometriosis, insulin resistance, and the type 2 diabetes, anxiety, depression. I mean, the whole nine. So I spent my entire life trying to hide myself and now is very publicly sharing. And again, I didn't think anybody was watching. So I desperately searched for that version of myself online, and when I couldn't find her, I became her. And in turn, it created a movement. What you see today on social media. So in this process, in everything I've ever shared, it's always been brain focus, like brain focused fitness. Like, what are we thinking? What are we believing? What do we think we need? And I've learned a lot over time. I've corrected a lot of things. I've grown in my knowledge, in my certifications, and all those kinds of things. But really, I looked at fitness as something that would happen when you shifted your relationship with yourself. So that would shift your relationship with fitness and nutrition. So, about a year and a half ago, it was finally confirmed that I was officially in menopause. So, I'm going to be 50. I'm going to be 50 in November. That's Sally O'Malley for all of you guys who follow SNL. I'm 50. I'm Sally O'Malley, and I'm here to punch, kick, and stretch. I have been practicing for this moment since that episode ever came out. So just so you know, it's going to be like ad nauseum come November 13th. Anyways, so I was about 46 and a half years old. I decided that I wanted to start training for a wellness competition, which shifted the way that I worked out. I became a runner, which was, I never ran on purpose unless there's zombies chasing me. And well, there was no zombies. And the fact that I was running up anything, let alone a hill, was shocking. And it was more my version of running. And that's all that matters because my run. And all of a sudden, like like I just wasn't getting my period as regularly. And even though I had PCOS, PCOS, endometriosis, and all that other gooey fun stuff, I still had a pretty regular period on a monthly basis. But all of a sudden it started to like get a little further apart. And I just thought it's because I'm a runner or whatever. We'll figure it out. Well, I didn't know it was in the throes of perimenopause. And so about a year and a half ago, it was finally, oh gosh, yeah, about a year and a half ago, it was confirmed that I was actually in menopause. Now, I know a lot of people have a lot of hard feelings about menopause. I was like, this is great. So I didn't have any hangups about menopause, but I knew things were shifting. My body wasn't responding to things in the same way that it was before. And I'm like, so I wouldn't beat myself up about it because I was coming from a very health gains focus. That's how I lost 100 pounds. I've maintained it. But there was things that were reacting differently. I was having a hard time putting on muscle and strength, and just things were a little weird. So I got the confirmation. I'm like, awesome. I did the research, decided for me that HRT at the time would be a great option, and I chose to go that route. And so I think it's always really important that I think on social media, and I think we know, like I'm sharing my journey. I could give two craps about what you think about my choices. I'm so strong in my brain set and the steps that I take. And I encourage more of you guys to feel that way. And I feel that anybody who has anything to say about somebody else's choices, the way that we grow is by taking messy action, hashtag do it dirty. And that's how we discover what works for us. And when we start putting down other people's processes, says so much more about yourself than them. Allow them to journey, allow them to have the experience. I've always been very authentic on social media. If I ever change any of my decisions, I will share those with you. For me, it was a very good decision and it made a big difference, including I gained 40 pounds like that, like that, like that. I can't snap, but really fast. Okay. We had a super stressful summer. I gained 40 pounds so fast. I felt so much better, but I'm like, whoo, this is fast. I don't care where you are. When you have a rapid weight gain like that, it hurts. It's uncomfortable. So I decided that I was not going to do the wellness competition. That had changed anyways. I really want to come in from my perspective, and I'm like, I don't like the direction it's going in. I said, you know what? Why don't we just give your body time? Why don't we just give your body time without any expectations? Just have experiences, and let's see what this means for you. Let's see what HRT does for you. Let's see what steps you take. Why don't we just allow versus trying to dictate how things are going to go? Now, that wasn't new to me. That's something that I've been teaching and coaching for a long time, but it's a conversation I have with myself. It's a check-in. Um, it's a big sister talk with myself, right? Like I have Coach Chillin in me all the time. So as I went through that process, I was able to end up losing 30 of the 40 pounds that I gained. I just made some slight shifts, listening to my body and allowing. Well, in that process, what happened was I very intentionally uh, celebrated the plateau. So when I hit about the third, I think about 30 pounds down, I think the max I hit was about 35 pounds down from the 40 I had gained. And I had said to myself, okay, this is a really great place to land and just be so I can learn more about myself in this new phase of my life, being in menopause, being on HRT, having the rapid weight gain, getting the adjustments to my hormones, getting back to roughly where I had started. And I just wanted to see what that was going to feel like. And the reason why I chose this is the conversation that's not being had about weight loss plateaus is that people often think that any kind of a stop in their weight loss progress is a failure or whatever else you want to call it. We'll just stick with the word failure for a moment. And it's not. A lot of times when we are in intentional weight loss. So when I was in the plateau, I was no longer in intentional weight loss. Okay. So I have particular steps, tools, things that I use to help me when I want intentional weight loss. And there's other times, like if I'm in a muscle build or something like that, where my intention is not to lose weight. So I don't have the experiences. Well, I was forced into menopause overnight because I was on Lupron years ago. But to truly be in menopause in, my second half of life, I'd never had that experience before. So what was this going to look like? What was it feeling like? What was coming up for me? And my relationship with food and the way that I teach it to other people and fitness, but brain first. So we actually are working on nutrition the entire time, but we don't like intentionally focus on nutrition until much, much later to where it just becomes a series of tweaks versus an overhaul. So this is very, very important. So I don't do any massive overhauls. It was just a series of tweaks. So what would it look like if I, was overcoming some sciatica pain that I developed? What did this look like? What did this feel like? So I didn't track anything. I had a general idea of my macros. I have a general idea of what I'm consuming. I had a general idea of days when I had higher protein, as an example, and days that I had higher carbohydrates. Oftentimes, I would love when I had higher carbohydrates. I was out playing pickleball. If you don't pickleball, you're missing out. I love pickleball. And so I was able to continue to be in tune with my body and recognizing there were some days that I overfueled for my activities, some days that I underfueled, and some days I got it just right. Basically, I was Goldilocks with a pixie cut. That's and brunette, basically, is what it came down to. Okay. So, oh, that was that a little spit? Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Because I felt that. That's awkward. I've done way more awkward things on You know what? I've peed more times on camera than you will ever know because just because it happens. Anyways, heavy lifts. Okay, so when I got to this point, I'm like, okay, let's see what life feels like right now. Let's just have the experience. So the plateau was really knowledgeable for me and also very freeing because I can live a lifestyle and I can move my body or make adjustments to it and not be trapped in the how many calories and how many reps and how many macros and keto or this or that. Like there was none of that. It was like it was Coach Chulin's version, like my own personal version, this experience. And this is a really important thing that we all need to learn to do. It's why I love teaching it so much that we can literally be free of those constraints. Now, I don't judge any workout programs, any eating plans, any tools, weight loss surgery, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's really unfortunate people do that. Again, I really very much believe in traveling the journey and getting the experiences so you can have knowledge, you can have data. What's working for you now? What do you need to tweak, right? And so that's what I did is that I got to know this new version of me, this matured version of me, so to speak, this menopause version of me where things are a lot different on top of the HRT to really understand how food affected me. What did that look like? And then I would do things like if I ate late at night, as an example, or if I ate really heavy carbs late at night, it would affect my sleep. My sleep is really important to me. Okay. It would affect my sleep. It would affect my next day. And I'm like, that doesn't feel good to me. So what could I do instead? When I eat higher proteins or just focus on proteins, um, towards like maybe like a couple hours before I go to bed, that felt really good to me. I liked having a larger digestion window. I wasn't intermittent fasting per se, but I liked the way that that felt. I had a particular breakfast that I felt the most fueled. And then for a while, I moved away from that because I ate it so often. And I would eat a bunch of different things. And those, while I was still fueled, they didn't feel really good as my original breakfast, which is basically oats, egg whites, and making a pancake out, some fruit and like some maple syrup. It was yummy. It was really yummy, but I got tired of it. And so I was able to travel this path and just looking at where I am right now with all the brain set retraining, because all my thoughts and beliefs that I had either had them exposed to me, so they became part of my identity, or I learned them along the way, having no idea that I got to sit at the table with myself, that I got to choose what was right for me. I felt that this was just who I was and that I was stuck, not realizing that I could actually shift my brain set, that it was happening all the time, that it was discovering new patterns and then automating those things. And so I'm like, wow, if I can be powerfully stuck in this negative philosophy about myself and this terrible way that I spoke to myself, what if I took that same mechanism that I've been practicing my entire life and I flip flopped it and I put it over this way and became powerfully stuck? as a person who can move and eat healthy with ease, as a person with a great relationship with themselves, as a person who shifted their brain set and changing their relationship with fitness and nutrition. What if I became powerfully stuck in those things? And I became powerfully stuck in those things. I became the type of person that would move and eat healthy with ease. And so, what is really important in this is that when we look at weight loss plateaus, I do believe in weight loss, intentional weight loss, not all the time, but intentional weight loss. I'm actually moving back into that phase myself, and I'm happy to share that with you guys as I go through the process. You are welcome to reach out to me to learn more about the process that I help other people, whether it's one-on-one coaching and my group coaching. It's very personalized, and they're smaller groups because I want to be a part of your journey, guiding you, not giving you a bunch of crap you're not going to use. But how can I apply this to myself? How can I show up for myself this way? And so one of the things that was really important to me was freedom. And that freedom, freedom from food, freedom from negative self-talk, in that freedom for me to have that, it required for me to find structures that met me in the season that I was in. So I've been in a very heavy caregiver season as my husband's multiple sclerosis is deciding to morph and shift in different ways. And so that shifted, whether I'd be far away from the house or not. So my workouts changed. For a while, I didn't work out. I wasn't strength training as much as I was going through sciatica recovery. I discovered pickleball. So there were all these shifts and changes that happened into my normal patterns and routines. And years ago, I'd say, well, there you go again. As soon as I start doing well, see something goes wrong and everything goes away. And that is a brain set that I'd shifted as well, because when I recognize that the universe is throwing monkey poo all the time, it just depends on when you stand up and the poo's flinging and it hits you in the face. It's our relationship with how we shift the way we deal with those things, the grace and the space we give ourselves or the situation, understanding we might not have all the answers in the moment, but if we just kind of travel the path, we'll discover what it is that's working for us and then what it is that we can tweak. Notice I didn't say good or bad. I really stay away from those conversations because I lived a life in good and bad. Most everybody I coach has a good back bucket and a bad bucket, and all of them had terrible confidence in themselves, and we uncovered it. Okay. So confidence is an inside out job, and confidence is just like, girl, you look good because I'm feeling really good about myself. I'm going to go to a comedy show with my young son tonight, and I'm feeling super cute, wearing dark lipstick, the earrings, the whole nine. But that's not confidence. Confidence is grace and space for yourself, freedom, willingness to have experiences without knowing the outcome. Those things really are confidence, and that comes out. And so when we have a time where the universe tests your commitment to your commitment, let's say you're on an intentional weight loss journey as an example, things are going to happen. And so it's a practice, not a perfect. So for the past year and a half, I've been in another season of practice, learning more about myself, learning what works with me in this new season, and being completely okay with a weight loss plateau. Because a weight loss plateau means for me and for you, and it can if you choose, is your body, most importantly your brain, right? Brain to your nervous system, all out to the all to your pinky finger down to your pinky toes, is your body getting accustomed to this new version of yourself, this new way of being in yourself. And that's what that weight loss plateau was for me. It allowed me to be in a space where my brain and body got on board with each other. And so instead of having to heavily focus on it and track a bunch of things and things like that, it was done with a series of tweaks and a lot of fluidity and without any negativity attached to it, because I understand that this plateau is here so that when I go reach whatever the next level is in the next season, like I said, for now, I'm going to be going back into an intentional weight loss. Listen, I'm not going to tell any lies. Where I currently am, while I'm very proud of the work that I've done, I'm very proud of the experiences I've had. Realistically, I know excess weight in my body, especially as I get older, is not beneficial to me. So I can love myself and be proud of the body that I'm in right now, but also recognize the hard truths, right? And what that means. But I don't chase weight loss. I focus on health gains with the intentionality of losing weight, but allowing the freedoms and giving myself space to learn more about myself through experiences versus expectations. I don't set an expectation of how much I'm going to lose or how much time it's going to take because I have a healthy relationship with myself, fitness, and nutrition, that I can make those tweaks and adjustments as I go without the restriction, the deprivation, the punishment, and the misery that fitness and nutrition used to be for me. So, weight loss plateaus are an excellent time for your brain and body to get on board with this newer version of yourself from where you are right now, making the journey as you progress into the next season of intentional weight loss simpler, a series of tweaks, and feeling free because you have structures that work for you, that doesn't require you going through check boxes every single day. It just becomes a part of who you are, therefore becoming the type of person who moves and eats healthy with ease. If you have any questions or you'd like to learn more, you're welcome to leave a comment here. I love to have conversations in DM over on Instagram. You are welcome to reach out to me in either place, but I'd love to chat with you more about it. And of course, I'll be sharing more of my journey as I go. All right, talk to you soon.
That's good.
I'm glad. Thanks, honey.
Yeah.
I'm still live. I'm still live.